Welcome to School Report, a glimpse into the classrooms of St. Lucie County Public Schools. School Report provides the opportunity to share with the community academic and extracurricular activities of students in our schools. And now, here is School Report.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Could everyone please stand and remove their caps for the presentation of colors?
Upward, face. Present, colors.
I pledge allegiance Please remain standing for the national anthem by Ms. Bianca Wesley. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the Wow. I know this really isn't supposed to be about the talent at Westgate, but we can't deny that. Let's hear it again, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, good afternoon. Thank you all very much for coming out today. Back in 2008, my oldest son joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. And at that time, I realized there's not a lot done in the schools to recognize our military, our veterans, those responsible for us being allowed to gather here today. I presented my principal then, Mr. Robert Cranmer, with a proposal, and he told me, great idea, go for it. Ever since then, once a year, our third graders learn some terrific songs, our band learns some terrific songs, and we are honored to have all of our veterans that are available, that are a part of our Westgate family, here with us. And for that, I'm very thankful. At this point, usually Mr. Cranmer would come up and speak, but unfortunately, he couldn't be with us since he retired and he had another commitment. Miss Pecosha has gone to St. Augustine with our fourth graders. So I guess it's all up to me. I'm not going to bore you with me. So at this time, I'm going to ask our wonderful third graders to stand and ask Miss April Cheeseborough to come up. And they have some songs for your entertainment.
God bless America, and that I love, stand beside her, and I heard through the night with the light from above.
From the mountains to the prairies, from the oceans white with foam, God bless America.
I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say that.
Thank you, Mr. Levon. Right now, I would like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Bobby Williams Sr. of the U.S. Army, and he is going to speak to us for a few minutes about his experience.
Well, thank you all for coming out, and thank you, Mrs. Collis, for putting on this ceremony. When I was a youth about this age, we didn't have ceremonies like this. We're coming through the Vietnam era, towards the end of that period. It's a different time. And I say that for this particular reason. We're at a different time because I've always felt loved by my community and the community at large. A lot of our Vietnam and Korean War veterans, they didn't feel the same kind of love that I've felt since 1984, basically, till 2011 when I retired. And the reason that means so much to me is because I was listening to the Lee Greenwood song, Proud to be American. So I remember receiving my first award. That's my first award I got in the Army, an Army Achievement Medal. I was hosting Lee Greenwood. We was welcoming, I had already returned from Desert Shield, Desert Storm. We were welcoming back some more soldiers, and it was just so happened to be on the 4th of July weekend. Not only I was hosting him, but I had the whole entire site set up for the 4th of July event at Fort Sill, which is a major event. So for those who are in attendance who have served, thank you for your service. I salute all those who put on this program to allow kids to recognize individuals who have served this country. And we all serve in a lot of different capacities. I always say teachers are servers. Teaching is hard duty. I've done it. And so I'm very proud to want to be an American, very proud to have served my country. And God bless you all for coming out and taking part in today's ceremony. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Damage Control First Class Jesse Kubich, United States Coast Guard.
Hi kids. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the military for 19 years. I joined when I was 19. In 1996, I joined the Air Force. My first job was building bombs and missiles and putting them on fighter jets. That was a pretty fun job. I got out of the Air Force and I went to the Marine Corps, where I joined the infantry. That was basically 4 years of running around in the woods, playing guns, camping. It was a good time. Until about 2001, then we actually did go to war, and it was less of a good time, but it was still fun. I got out of the Marine Corps, and then I joined the Coast Guard. I'm a damage controlman, which is basically I'm a firefighter on the boats, and on land I'm a plumber and a carpenter. Basically, I do a little bit of it all. I'll tell you my favorite time out of all 19 years. It was Christmas in 2001. I was in Afghanistan at the time. It was cold. All my friends and I, there was no presents. Some of you kids might be saying no presents on Christmas. How is that the best time ever? I'll tell you why. Because none of us had anything. What we did is we took some bricks from one of the blown up buildings and we built a fireplace with it. And we hung up all our dirty socks all along the fireplace. And what we did is we traded food with each other and we stuffed our dirty socks with some food. And we just hung out by the fire, sang a couple songs, and we were just friends with each other. And that was the best time I ever had in the military. Before I leave, I'd like to say today is November 10th. So happy birthday to all the Marines out there. 240 years.
But feel free to stand when appropriate and be recognized for your service.
speaker is Sergeant Donald E. Poland, U.S. Army Medical Corps.
I need my hands free because I got some notes here today. Need a little help. Good afternoon, students. Parents, grandparents, and friends. My name's Donald Poland. I was invited to speak today by Tyler Montalbano, who's my neighbor and friend, and he goes to school here. I feel privileged for this invitation and to be speaking in front of you. And you're going to hear some dates today, kids, and some places that you may not be familiar with. But if you really want to follow up, and your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather was in the military, go talk to them. Keep the history alive. I want to speak to you about my experience in the military, but to do that, I got to go back. I mean, way back. I was born in the U.S. Naval Medical Hospital in Pensacola, Florida in 1950 to a military family. My father joined the Army in 1937, re-enlisted in 1939, same time Germany was going into Poland starting World War II. My dad was stationed later on at Fort Shafter, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and he had 2 weeks left in his enlistment when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Well, needless to say, he was in for the duration. After World War II ended, my dad switched to the newly formed U.S. Air Force. And we were bounced around from Germany, France, Michigan, Florida. In the 50s, I lived on a French farm where my father was stationed in France because there wasn't any military housing. And we lived with a French family, and I spoke French before I spoke English. Well, my father retired after 33 years government service. I graduated from Riviera Beach High School in 1968. Of course, I wanted to follow my father into the military, as did my older brother, who did 20 years in the Navy. My parents had to sign approval for me because I was only 17. I know what you're thinking. Is that the same uniform he had on then? Yes, it is. It's had some extensive surgery, though. Well, there's been some basic training for me at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And I probably said to myself when I got off the bus there at 2 in the morning, what in the world did I do? After that, I went to Fort Sam Houston, Texas for combat medical training. On graduation day, we were getting our assignments called out to us. And we all knew we were going to Vietnam. The Tet Offensive had started, and it was in full-blown warfare. The drill instructor started calling out names, and it went something like this. Wilson, Vietnam. Jones, Vietnam. Gonzalez, Vietnam. And then he got to my name. Poland, Germany. Everybody stopped and looked at me. And we couldn't believe what was just said. All my classmates are going to Vietnam. I'm going to Germany. Well, I arrived in Germany in Nuremberg, which, by the way, was going to be the capital of the world if Hitler won World War II. I reported to the 130th General Hospital, and a week later was reassigned to the 536 General Dispensary, supporting the 3rd Armored Division. Their task was to deter the Russian military from invading Western Europe. The shooting war in Vietnam was going full bore, but there was a Cold War in Europe. Russia was no longer our ally, and Berlin Wall had been put up by the East Germans, and tensions were very high. And if you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, we were close to a nuclear holocaust. I realized once I got to Germany why I was there. There was quite a shortage of medical personnel because of the Vietnam War. But I had quickly advanced to medical specialist, and because of the shortage, I did x-ray, laboratory, immunization clinic, emergency room, medical records, medical supply, and flight medic. Valuable training I carried on to my civilian life.
My service taught me commitment, responsibility, dedication, and gaining lifelong friends. After my service, along with my father and 2 brothers, we all became federal employees, and I'm proud to say we have given our country 139 total years. Thank you again for this invitation. And students, thank you. One last message to the students. Work hard in school, and when you put your name on your schoolwork, make it your very best, because there's only one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before we have our final speaker, I just want to recognize a few people that are sitting in the back row over here, hiding from everybody. At the very end, far right, your left, is Miss Katherine Hensley. She is the Vice Chairman of the St. Lucie County School Board. Thank you for being here today. Next to her, we have Cassie Elliston, one of the assistant principals here at Westgate. Next to her, we have Miss Kimberly Rapoon, one of our wonderful teachers. And last but not least, Miss Esther Guzman, another of our assistant principals. And with that, I'm going to let Ms. Guzman come up and introduce our last speaker. I really believe that you all will find this very interesting.
Okay, good afternoon once again, and I'm happy to see such a huge audience, and thank you parents once again for joining us on this special event. I had the privilege last month to be invited to a Building Homes for Hero event off of Gatlin, where they were presenting Army Specialist Hugo Gonzalez a home over in Newport Isles. I was contacted by the mayor's office. I don't know how they got my name, but I was contacted by them looking for a student to come and sing. Of course, I took Bianca Wesley with me, and I had the privilege of attending the event and meeting Hugo Gonzalez and Kenny, who you will hear shortly. And again, it is a privilege. I reached out to him and I asked him to be here today with us, and he will be speaking about his story, and he will also be telling you a little bit about what Building Homes for Heroes is and what they're doing in our community for our veterans. So without further ado, we have Army Specialist Hugo Gonzalez.
Thank you, Ms. Racon. The person that inspires the love for the Army and the armed forces in me was my uncle, Sergeant Louis Fermin. He was already in the Army. I was around your age, let's say 8, 10 years. But each and every time he came back home from his trainings, he allowed me to try to lift his duffel bag. A big and heavy bag. But I wanted to show him that I was strong enough to be a soldier. One time, as a gift for the effort that I was making, I remember he presented me with a Velcro Army issue digital watch that I treasure for a long time because of the novelty and also because of what it represents to me at that young age. The acknowledgement of my family member that I have what it takes to be a soldier and anything else I wanted in my life. After that, I even get to study in a military academy back in Puerto Rico, named after the 65 of Infantry Regiment of the United States of America that proudly served during the First World War, Second World War, Korea, and very important trainings. After that, in the high school, I joined the Army. I've been sent to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where I become a cannon crew member, and I learned to shoot the big cannons. I love it. Once the war begins, I was sent to Germany, to the beautiful city of Bamberg, to get ready to relieve our fierce troops that was already having a tough time in the city of Bakuba, Iraq. On our way to Iraq, we got out of Germany during the night, but in the morning, I wake up in the airplane and I get to take a look through my window to get to see the new world I was getting into. And I said to myself, oh my God, how come you forgot about the blue and the green in this side of the world? Because of the arid and inhospitable terrain I was getting to see from the mid-air. Oh, please don't get me wrong. Iraq is a beautiful place. I remember vast rivers surrounded by palm trees. I perceive a beautiful culture that I get to embrace, that I get to learn as much as possible. And one word that takes me very far was the word chakram. Thank you. On the 9th of June 21st, 2004, our unit got ambushed because we was defending something that we believe from the bottom of our heart, that is the human right to be free. That night, our unit got stopped by a improvised explosive device, and they catch us by surprise. But we fight. We fight like each and every other time we got engaged. But this time, our enemy got a grip of my soul and was pulling it away from me harder than ever. I thought it will be my end. By the time I get to hear the ceasefire order from my superiors, I was already blinded, calling for my mother, scared to death. Probably the end of an honorable tour of duty, you may think. But the truth is that for me, it was just the beginning of the real war. the war inside. After that, already wounded, I spent 2 years and a half in the Walter Reed Army Medical Center where I was receiving treatment for my combat wounds. During those years, I received the love and the support from my family, from my brothers in arms, and from the American patriots that recognize the real value of a veteran. Today, we have the unique opportunity to plant the seed of love in our kids, in our children, and perhaps to inspire the love for our armed forces, and why not, from the Army that I love so much. I appreciate this invitation, and from the bottom of my heart, may God bless you and God bless America. Thank you very much.